And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday, July 31st. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody, and welcome on a Monday morning. Sun is shining. Going to be another hot one. We welcome Don Hammett. He's here to talk about Absolute Kubota. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
How was your weekend?
It was great.
Good. And Monday off to a great start so far.
So far, it's been pretty short so far, but it's off to a good start. No problem.
You didn't forget to come by here, but you never do.
I never do. I'm not going to forget to come see you.
Absolute Kubota is located at 1506 West Main in Lebanon, where you'll find Kubota tractors, hay equipment, zero-turn mowers, RTVs, and everything from weed eaters to hay balers.
We got them.
Yeah. Well, what's a good word today?
Oh, it's been a great summer so far. It's wet. I know everybody has been out mowing their grass and, different things like that. And it's been a great wet summer. Been hot, but it's been wet, which is good for equipment sales.
I'll bet the professional lawnmowers have had a good year.
I think they have. It's a lot of new homes being built, a lot of new things to be taken care of. There's always going to be some people that don't want to do their own lawn care. So there's always going to be people out there that can take care of that for you.
Yeah, but I was thinking weather-wise, it's been good.
Oh, it has.
The time the grass has been growing.
It has been, and almost growing too fast at my house. It's hard to keep up with. It seems like every 5 days you need to get out there and cut it again. But if you've been out there and you've been cutting a lot and your blades need sharpening or you need some service done, need your oil changed, you can bring that in. The guys, Clint and John in the service department, they'll be glad to get you scheduled up with an appointment and get you all fixed up. If you like doing your own service, we keep all your belts and blades and your fluids and your filters. All that stuff's in stock. You can come in, see Colin or Gunner, and they'll get you fixed up and get you on your way.
Well, as far as mowers go, you have more than one kind to sell.
We do. Of course, we're a Kubota dealership. Right. We have Kubota, we have Hustler and Exmark. We still have people that come by and like, you guys still selling Exmark? We're like, shoot, yeah, man, sell them every day.
Well, what about the other one, Hustler, you said?
Hustler, yeah. It's a very fine lawnmower. I sit every day and talk to all my customers about how lawnmowers are just put together in components, whether it be a half-ton, three-quarter ton, one-ton pickup truck. Lawnmowers are kind of the same way. So do you need just a little half-ton lawnmower to take care of a half acre? Or do you need a one-ton lawnmower type to take care of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 acres?
Yeah.
So that's the way I kind of explain them to our customers.
Well, you've got those different three to choose from, and there should be one of those ought to fit your needs.
There will be. They're all there. We've got a lot of good equipment in stock. I know the last couple of years, stock has been a problem. This year, we've got plenty of stock of everything. We've got plenty of lawnmowers around. We've got a lot of big cab tractors in stock right now. If you've been out and you've been cutting hay and bush hogging a lot this summer too, because that's also a part of having to take care of grass. We've got cab tractors in stock. We've got 0% financing on all of our tractors. Lots of good deals. Today's the last day of the month. Come on in and hit me up, and we'll make a special deal just so we can finish the month out strong.
Well, you mentioned those air-conditioned compartments, cabins, whatever, on those tractors.
Yes, sir.
You can cut in the cool or
get in there and turn your radio on. We can install you a Bluetooth radio inside your cab tractor, and you can turn the AC on. You can get out there and bush hog, and you don't have to sit out there and fool around with the wasp and the heat and the stuff that's going to get up your nostrils and get you all sick and everything and get you all fixed up.
Well, I know you have the trimmers and the blowers that go with, especially with lawn mowing.
We do. Got all that stuff in stock. Those are the people's least favorite things to do because typically you have to get up off of your zero-turn lawnmower and hold something in your hand, to trim grass. But it's a good finishing touch, and we keep Red Max.
Do you have electric riding mowers yet?
We do not. They are in existence, but for most of our stuff, people just want a good gas lawnmower. We do have the Kubota diesels. We have some of our farmers that like a big heavy duty Kubota diesel lawnmower, have hydraulic decks on them, air ride seats. They've got all kinds of nice things on those Kubota lawnmowers.
One thing we haven't mentioned, and probably should before we run out of time, RTVs.
RTVs, got them in stock. You have gas. We have a gas unit that'll run about 43 miles an hour, super fun. Our diesel units are hydrostatic. Get those. They have hydraulic dump beds on them to pair up with your tractors and loaders and different things. And you can get out and check your fences, check your mama cows, just ride around on your farm. Like I always say, you can get one of those 1140s and you'll be the favorite grandma or grandpa in the family. So
Now, those are air conditioned.
you can get you can also get an RTV 1100 with an air conditioner and heater in it. Got one sitting right outside my window.
Well, the heater is nice to have in the winter.
It is. It is as important as an air
Almost a
conditioner.
necessity.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, again, all of this at Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. That's where you'll find Don Hamlet. And you are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's correct.
And Saturdays
8 a.m. till noon.
till noon.
Yes.
All right. Well, have a great end of the month here and a great start of August, and we'll see you next Monday.
Awesome. See you then.
All right. Don Hamlet, Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. Well, you've already heard his voice, but my guest is here, and it is time for me to introduce to you the one and only Uncle Pete.
Good morning, Wilson County and the surrounding areas. This portion of your program today is being brought to you by the veterans of Wilson County. Good morning, Coleman.
Good morning, Pete. You want to tell about your experience a few days ago?
This time last week, I was laying in a hospital bed at Vanderbilt, and on Tuesday, I had double stents put in. I had a heart attack on Sunday. And I want to brag on Vanderbilt. That hospital is changed 500%. I had great meals. I had great people coming in and out. I had courteous nurses and stuff. Nursing staff's outstanding in the cardiac area.
And you're talking about here in Lebanon.
Lebanon, yes, sir. Did everything right here. They kept me informed down to the T, kept my family informed what they were doing, how they were doing it, and why they were doing it. And then when they got done, the doctor said, "Slow down, boy. Your body is trying to tell you something."
And you're going to slow down.
I'm going to slow down.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. But
I'm gonna devote more time to my favorite subject, and that's veterans.
okay.
So
All right.
I'm going to do that.
Well, I contacted you. I forgot when, but it was after that, I think. But
Yeah.
you didn't tell me much about it. You just said you'd be
Well,
here.
I saved it for here.
And I did remind you last night, but you
You
were,
sure did. Marianne has reminded me 5 times this morning.
well, you look okay.
Well, thank you. I mean, I knew something was going on because Sunday morning I was eating breakfast and everybody kept saying, "You're white as a ghost."
And this is a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago, and said, "You're white as a ghost." And I didn't think nothing about it. So I went home and I'm hooking up a trailer. Felt like somebody hit me in the chest. So I took a nitro and called the hospital and said, emergency room, said, "You got an inbound heart attack patient." Lady said, "What ambulance service is this?" I said, "I'll be in a big black truck."
Norman Express.
Probably should not have driven myself. I got fussed at over that, but it was quicker than calling an ambulance and stuff.
Yeah. But you're feeling okay?
I'm feeling good. Like I said this morning, I'm feeling with both hands this morning.
What's going on with the veterans?
Well, little fact. One of the things that we're going to do with the new Veteran Center is work on suicide prevention. Every 65 minutes, a veteran commits suicide. The average age of a veteran committing suicide is 45. About a half of the veterans over 65 commit suicide, and about half of the veterans under 45 commit suicide. And loneliness, loss, despair is the main factor in committing suicide. Older veterans run out of people to be around and talk to, and they feel isolated and they give up. Younger veterans come back from conflicts and they lose the camaraderie that they've had for 4, 5, 10 years, whatever. And all of a sudden, the normal civilian doesn't talk their language, doesn't understand, doesn't know why they're having outbursts. And they just get to a point and they say, I'm done. What we're going to try to do with the new Veteran Center is give them a place to come. The VA is going to try to, once we get everything going, we're going to put together at least a weekly, hopefully, roundtable discussion and invite people in. The other thing we're going to do, you'll see a big van sitting out there. We're going to take veterans who are homeless or not homeless, but in shelter and stuff, and take them and go do something with them. Get them out. Try to get them involved with the Lebanon Senior Citizen for the older ones. The other thing we're going to do is get the younger guys in there and give them a place to go where they can meet and cut up and carry on and talk to people.
You mentioned we were talking about pool earlier before we went on the air.
We got 2 pool tables given to us. Got some other games given to us. Xboxes and stuff. We've had some donations of those. We need help. For those people out there listening to me, I need your help bad. You can donate in the name of your father, your son, your grandchildren who are veterans, and help us help them. I've got a group of women veterans, and we've got a women's homeless veteran shelter. Right now we have 4 veterans in there, and we're literally running ragged, taking them back and forth to hospital, taking them back and forth to doctor's appointments and stuff. And the Rotary Club has been helping with our fuel. In fact, both of our vans say powered by the Rotary, Lebanon Breakfast Rotary. I'd love for the other 3 Rotaries, the noon here and the noon and breakfast in Mount Juliet, to step up and help us a little bit. We don't ask for a whole lot, just whatever they can afford.
Right.
But we need that just to keep it going. We're in dire need of another van. We've got one van that finally collapsed. We're going to shoot it next week. I'm literally going to take it over to the junkyard. We're going to have it towed to the junkyard.
No.
It finally laid down. But I'll give it this. That old Chevrolet drove 491,000 miles before it quit.
Well, we got to quit for a moment here and take a break. This is Coleman and Company at 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 615-449-6171. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still running slow just before you get into Jolton there on 24 eastbound. Coming in from Clarksville as THP cleans up that accident. Nolensville Pike at OHB. That's a crash getting some attention there in South Nashville. The fire department still on the scene. And Woodmont Boulevard at Grandy White Pike, where they're still working that accident as traffic increases now 24 out of Rutherford County up to Antioch. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. It's picking up out here. Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. They're number 1 in commercial and residential. Check them out today at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
We continue here on a Monday morning. Pete Norman, Haywood P. Norman IV is my guest, but we all know him as Uncle Pete. And by the way, we haven't talked about Mary Ann and what she had to say about you maybe slowing down. Is she encouraging it?
She smiled. She smiled, and the next thing out of her mouth was, "I told you so." For a husband, it's terrible when the wife's right.
You started a fundraiser, and we talked about that quite a bit, I guess, the last couple of times you were out here. How's that going?
Well, it's going pretty good. We've got a $10,000 challenge, and we're over $4,800 something on that challenge. Once I hit the 10,000, I get the second 10,000. And what we're asking the public to do and to step up and help us with is to make it through the first year. We've got some fundraisers planned. We have got applications for grants being written, and once some of this starts coming in, we'll be all right. But now the women's veteran shelter is another thing. This group are all on fixed income, but as everybody know, the expenses don't fix. So every year theirs goes up, and the ladies get a little bit better with their things. Once we get some, and most of these ladies have come literally off the street. They were in places where they couldn't pay the rents anymore, and basically were told to get out. We found them. We get notified by the VA and by different counselors, and we go and pick them up and help them. We've had one lady we took literally out of the hospital. She was being discharged and had no place to go. Her family would not take her back. And so she ended up coming to us. Now, she passed away this year, and she was in her late 80s. But that group of ladies and that administrator there needs some help. So churches, women's groups, step up and help them. Just anything. I get people that bring me women's clothing all the time, and I'll hold up something. I say, wow, I like this. But the veteran center is something entirely different. There's a thing that I like to call "been there, done that. Do you need to sit and talk?" And that's an older veteran talking to younger veterans.
Well, we might explain if we have some listeners who are new or haven't heard, and I'm sure there are people who don't know that the old Lebanon Fire Station out on Hartman Drive at the bypass was sitting there vacant, and the city agreed, I think, for $1 a year to let y'all have that for, I guess, in perpetuity, or however you say that.
We've already got our sign up on the building.
Yeah.
We got a 4x8 sign with soldiers and all of the emblems, and we're going to go down the side and put Army, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, and then we have a very special place that we're going to put the new Space Command.
Oh.
I will not tell where it's going to be or how it's going to be, but somebody came up with a very unique idea for the Space Force. But it's going to be a place where we're going to have some computers. We're going to have the Veteran Employment Service will come by once a week and be there, and they can come and try to find jobs or get more education. We will be able to do special programs there. I've got a lady that teaches art as a therapy, and she's going to come and do an arts class. I think that lasts one day a week for maybe 3 to 6 months, and I'm not sure exactly, but it's going to be a long-term thing. And she's got people that help with all of your supplies and stuff, getting you started. I've had a couple of veterans go through her program and learned some pretty good things, and did some painting.
Let me ask this: you've got to get this started, and once it does, I'm sure success sort of breeds success. But you've got a selling job to do, especially to some of these younger ones. They've got to see that it's really for them and something they're interested in.
Yes. The ones that I've been talking to, they want it. They want to see it happen. But like one kid said, make it happen, Uncle Pete.
Yeah.
Said, I've been hearing it, but make it happen. I've been begging for this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And the mayor stepped up and did it. Now it's the community, it's us that's got to make it successful. We're going to try to do one of the big fundraisers, we're going to do a marathon on Armed Forces Day next year. And
That's in May, is it?
that's in May,
Okay.
third Saturday in May. And we've already got a route fixed. I've got a group of people who are very successful in a marathon and that are going to help me. And, you know, once it gets going, it will just keep on going.
What kind of money are we talking about? Maybe an annual operation budget?
Well, about $50,000 a year to make everything happen, to run everything, to keep the center open, to do things like that. The marathon, they say, will make enough money that we can do more things with the veterans in this town. We've got something else on the planning stages, and I'm not going to go any farther than that, that will help homeless veteran families. And to my surprise, this year alone, I found 4 homeless veteran families. Found one family of 4 living out of a 4-door car. And the way I found them, they were parked in my parking lot, and they were coming in and using our shower. And the kid had a veteran shirt on one day, and I said, "You a vet?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, I lost my job because my daughter was sick, and we were taking her back and forth." And he said, "You know, I was one paycheck away from being homeless.
Yeah.
I'm homeless." We found him a job. Our veteran employment guy found him a job 3 days. We got him going. Some of us helped him out. We found him a place to live down in Watertown, and he moved in, had no furniture. I made a few phone calls and got enough furniture to get him into the 2-bedroom place. And he's doing good now.
Doing fine.
He's doing fine.
That's great. Good to hear. One of the things, though, that to really get the ball rolling here is to match that $10,000.
Match the 10.
We're talking about $20,000.
Yes, sir.
Right?
That right off the bat.
And you're about nearly halfway there, but
Yes,
you
sir.
still need some $5,100.
Yes, sir. And we're writing grants right now that will help cover our expenses. And from what everybody says, once you get approved for grants with all these different groups, you about get them every year. That will help us. The marathon will be one of our main fundraisers.
And that's an annual thing. So
That will be annual.
And if you can get a
what
goodly amount there each time.
And what we're doing, the command sergeant majors of a military post run the post. The generals are just there for show. That came from a command sergeant major Lewinsky. So I have contacted the command sergeant major at Fort Knox, Fort Campbell, the Marine Navy Air Station in Memphis, and Arnold Air Force Base in Tullahoma, which also has a Space Force. And told them what I was going to do. And we're having a trophy built. I've got a lady that I've got to give her the piece for, and she said she can build whatever I want. So there will be a commander's trophy. Whichever post wins the marathon, not the whole marathon, just the marathon for the military, the trophy gets engraved and goes to their command sergeant major's office. Then
For a year.
For a year. Then next year they got to get it again.
If they win it, it goes back. If not,
Yep.
somebody else
Yep.
has it.
But it'll be engraved every year. She said she can put 15 spots on there for engravement.
So that's 15 years.
So that will give us military coming from the outside. Once you start doing that, it's my understanding that you start getting people from everywhere. Sherry's Run amazes me. You know, it has people from other countries coming now. So I'm not saying we're going to be as good as Sherry's Run the first few years, but we're going to give them a run for their money.
But if you could come up with something like that on an annual basis,
Yes, sir.
even if it didn't bring as much, but 2/3 as much, maybe,
Yeah.
a half as much, it'd
Yes.
be great.
Yes. And that's something that the older veterans can participate in without running, by just being at different water points and things like that. And like Sherry's Run lady said, you sell everything.
Yeah.
Signs, water points. So, but
We got 30 seconds. If somebody wants to help you out, to hit that $10,000 goal.
yes, sir, you can find me at Uncle Pete's truck stop or 615-804-4404. And if somebody out there's got a good running van or car, either one, get a hold of me. We need it bad.
All right, Pete, good to see you. Hope you can hit that 10,000 mark. I think that's your next goal right there. And we'll have you back probably in a month, so take care. And that is part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more, so please keep it here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, get a battery installed on most vehicles, $149.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still running a little bit slower than normal coming in from Clarksville as THP cleans up that wreck on 24 eastbound before that Jolton exit. Again, talk about wrong place, wrong time. There's just so much traffic coming in from Clarksville towards Nashville. Starting to build in that right now through Mount Juliet, headed over into Hermitage on 40 going westbound, leaving Wilson County. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken is catering. Check out that menu today at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sunshine expected through the day today, warming up to a high of around 90 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy skies back down to about 65. Tomorrow, sunshine and a high of 88. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two here on this Monday morning. Pete, we need your seat. He loves us so much he's still hanging around this morning, but got to make way here for Billy Mullinax. Billy's here to talk about Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Oh, good to see you. And guess what? Today is the last day of the month.
It's the last day of the month.
Pete, Pete is like Elvis. He hadn't, not like Elvis. He hasn't left the building, but
Yeah.
he's about to.
That was just a quick break, Coleman. I don't know what happened there. That was a quick break.
All right. Well, anyway, Bill, it's always good to see you. You're here on Monday mornings, whether I am or not, most of the time.
Yep, I am.
By the way, I did me a new sheet about you.
Oh, that's good.
I even mentioned Ram 1500, Ram 2500. I think I got this off of something that you had somewhere. Jeep Gladiator, Jeep Grand Cherokee. Those are, what, four of your bigger sellers, aren't they?
Well, and the Jeep Wrangler, of course.
Oh, okay.
Jeep Wrangler is
Need to write that one on there,
yep,
too.
that's a good one there, Coleman.
I'll pencil that in right now.
All right. But it's the last day of the month, Coleman. So if you've got a trade, it might be worth a little bit more today as we try to finish up as strong as we can.
You've been doing that for quite some time. Right at the end of the month, you just, if you can make that month look a little bit better, especially on the last day or two, well, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and it's not just us. It's anybody. I mean, it's like any business. You want your month to look as good as it possibly can. So on the last few days, you might do something just a little different.
Well, your location, you've been in Mount Juliet for a few years now. Started out actually, Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram was the new ownership as of when?
December.
Okay, so 7 or 8 months here. But prior to that, of course, you were in Lebanon, but you moved over to 600 Pleasant Grove Road, Mount Juliet. Been a good move.
Yes, it
was
has.
then, it is now for Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And of course, you've been the general manager all this time.
Yep.
Just a different owner for the last few months.
That's exactly right. We're still doing the same thing we were, taking care of people, Coleman, and putting the customer first. So
Well, we always mention your website, mountjulietcdjr.com, and we remind everybody they can see the entire inventory of the new and pre-owned cars at mountjulietcdjr.com.
Might even see your neighbor there.
Yes, sir. All right, what else on your mind this morning?
Well,
The good old summertime it's nothing
boy,
like
it's summertime, all right.
vacation, and when you go on vacation, if you've got a new vehicle or even a different one, it can make a difference.
Well, it can. And, we're about really to the end of vacation time. I think kids start back to school tomorrow.
Especially if you have children
Yeah.
that go to school. Yes,
That's right.
it is, because you're not likely going to be. But other people might take a vacation
They might
in August
still,
and September.
that's exactly right. And, but yeah, you typically, a lot of times you went on vacation last year and you realized that your family had grown just a little bit, or, the vehicle just didn't seem to have the get up and go that it once had. And you think, well, maybe before next vacation, we need to trade vehicles or buy a new vehicle. Well, it's vacation time, Coleman, so it may be time to do that.
Well, your inventory, we've talked about that a lot here lately, so much better than it was a couple of years ago. Just many more new ones to choose from, many more pre-owned.
Well, Coleman, we've got about 215 new vehicles on the ground right now. So we have got a great selection. We've got, I don't want to say we've got a little bit of everything, but we've almost got a little bit of everything. And you don't have to, you just don't have to be as kind of settled anymore like maybe you did a year or year and a half ago. You can be a little bit pickier with your selection because the inventory is so much greater. And we do have a great selection of pre-owned. We've got, about 120 pre-owned vehicles right now. So there again, we've got a little bit of something for everybody, and they're not all the real high priced vehicles. We try to keep stuff that fits in everybody's budget, Coleman.
Well, there are some people who $50,000 or $60,000 for a vehicle is okay, but some others maybe 12 or 15 is about as high as
Well,
you can go.
that's exactly right, Coleman. So we try to keep something in all the lines, and so that way, if somebody, so many times people think when they come to a dealership, everything is going to be really high prices. I mean, it's just going to be brand new vehicles or nearly new vehicles. But if we get a vehicle on trade that's a little bit older, got a few more miles, and we check it out and it's still a good vehicle, we'll recondition that and sell it because it's still got life in it.
Well, I think you are pretty particular about what you put out there. I mean, you want it to be good quality transportation, not junk.
Absolutely. We want to feel good about, first of all, what we sell to people, and people to be able to feel good and confident about what they're buying.
Well, all of this, of course, at 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet, as we say, the easy side, and traffic-wise, it is the easy side of Mount Juliet.
It is, Coleman. The other side is pretty tough sometimes.
But you're right over there next to Walmart and Academy Sports. It's just off of, Mount Juliet Road, I believe that's.
Yep, just off of Mount Juliet Road on Pleasant Grove Road.
I've been over there many times and by there at least. And,
yeah.
I probably haven't been to see you more than 2 or 3 times.
I think you've been twice, Coleman, and I've been to see you a whole lot more than you've been to see me.
You got me there. What could I say? But my old Cadillac, it's probably getting on its last days. I'm going to have to come visit you.
It's probably about time. It's been several years. You bought that in about 13 or 14?
I don't know.
It's been a long time, Coleman.
It's been a while.
Yep, been a long time.
I've been thinking about it. It's approaching 160,000 miles.
Yeah.
But it's been a good car.
Sure. Absolutely.
Oh, well, I don't know what else we got to say. You do have service after the sale, of course, and you have a great service department, which we try to talk about occasionally, maybe not talk about enough.
Well, we try to touch on that every week. because it is important after you buy a vehicle, to service it and take care of it, because that is the life of the vehicle is just in taking care of one, and the kind of maintenance that you perform, and our people will be able to tell you what's recommended for your vehicle at the mileage it's at.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep all of this in mind. And, of course, Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet. Again, their website, mountjulietcdjr.com. And Billy Mullinax, General Manager, have a great last day of the month, and we'll see you next month.
See you next Monday.
All right. Well, that takes us to about 21 minutes before the hour, and my guest is here for part 2 this morning. And I want to introduce Mr. Dan Curry, who is sitting down to talk with us this morning. Dan is a survey manager for Collier Engineering. That is, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
That
How
is
are you?
still true, right?
That is still
I have
true.
your business card you gave me the last time.
Yes,
you were
sir. I
here.
believe it's been a few months, but it's good to see you again.
Well, I hope things are going well.
They are. We're staying plenty busy. Obviously, it's been a hot one outside here the last week, and I've got some good people that do that. I don't get to get out as much and have to deal with the heat. I still do, but we're drinking our water and putting on our sunscreen and going to work.
Well, if you will, tell us again, I know I asked you a little bit about this in the beginning last time you were here, but tell us a little bit about yourself. In fact, I think you have a family, you have some children that you'd probably like to talk about.
I do. I grew up here in Middle Tennessee, grew up in Cookeville, went to high school there, went to Tennessee Tech, got my bachelor's degree, and went up to Knoxville, go Vols, and got a master's degree.
You are wearing an orange shirt.
I am in bright orange today. I'm going to make a site visit. But no, went to Knoxville, but moved into Wilson County about 2016. Been here since then. About that same time, I got my survey license, and been working with Collier since then. And just looking to kind of, get to know more of my Wilson County residents and just, create opportunities, trying to, work more with the residents here. We do a lot of work in Nashville, and just trying to spread our survey footprint.
Well, I think you have a very good friend in our owner and manager, Susie James.
I do. Susie's been very, very gracious and kind of helping me work on getting Collier's name out there and my name out there.
Yeah. She had suggested you the first time, and then after that, she's when you have a slot to fill, get him back out here. So that today's the day.
Today is the day. Yes.
What is there about what you do? You evidently really like it. First of all, it's what you got into. What attracted you to surveying and what you do?
I think a lot of it was probably the outdoors. And starting out, that's where I was. As you move up, I think in the survey world, you're inside a little bit more, but there's also surveyors who, they just work for themselves. It's them and no one else, and so they're inside, outside, and a lot of it, seeing your work. You work on a survey drawing. A lot of people think of these big maps we make, and it's almost like putting a puzzle together. And when you get that survey done, you get that drawing done, it's like you've got your puzzle done and you've got it to give to somebody. And you can see your work. And I think a combination of that and just being outside, meeting people, talking with people, hearing their situations and circumstances, it's always interesting. It's something different every day.
Well, I'm wondering, you went to Tennessee Tech, and Tech has a good engineering school. How much of this did you really learn there? Did you learn quite a bit of what you do? At least the beginnings of it, you learned at Tech?
It was the very beginning at Tech. I think one of my first kind of instances with survey was I believe it was one of our ag classes. We ran a level loop with a tripod and a level, and that's an instrument that doesn't get used quite as much in survey. You see a lot of grading contractors using them. Kind of the light bulb started going off then, and then I took one elementary level survey class when I was in Knoxville getting my master's degree, and that was really the only structured survey education that I got. But everything beyond that, which would have been about 2011, I just kind of on the job training, and learned it as I went. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing about survey you can do is you can bring somebody in who doesn't really know it, and if they want to learn and they've got the drive to want to better themselves, it's a great profession to get into.
Well, we got to go to a break here in a minute, but I'm just wondering, are you needing employees? You need people to work with you now?
We are always looking for people. A lot of it's right now we're looking for some field people, and we do have a good. I've got a great group in place right now. So it'd be somebody wants to be a part of a team. But yeah, we're always looking for people who want to learn and want to get better.
Is the pay pretty good?
I think it is. We start people out. It's all obviously predicated on your experience and what you can do. But we try to start everybody out at a good point. Usually the lowest level would be probably a $20 with no experience and nothing. And as you experience and show us you can learn and do, and half the battle is just showing up on time. Do all those things and you could be an employee for sure.
To do the job that you would have, you're out on all kind of terrain, perhaps?
We are.
You got to be mobile, I'm getting at.
You certainly have to be mobile, and I think that's probably another aspect that I enjoyed of it is, it keeps you in shape, walking up and down hills and carrying a machete and having to deal with the elements. There's a mental and a physical aspect to it for sure.
This is kind of for men, isn't it?
I've got two good ladies that work with me that are excellent. They are excellent. They are very good at what they do.
Okay. So it all depends on what you want to do.
It all depends on what you want to do.
Dan Curry is my guest. It's time for us to take a break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
Let's go ahead and see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Absolute Kubota. Premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 615-449-6171. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's been a little bit slow from an earlier wreck coming in from Clarksville on 24 eastbound just before the Jolton exit. It's busy now, 24 out through the Hickory Hollow area, making your way past Bell Road, Hickory Hollow Parkway coming in from Rutherford County. A little bit of radar spotted already on I-40 as you travel through parts of Wilson County. Give yourself a little bit of extra time out in that area. Hey, Nash Painting Services all of Middle Tennessee. Check out their website today and get all the information you need at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup features performance-matched attachments to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/offers for full disclaimer.
Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
Continue here on a Monday morning. If you join us late, we thank you. Regardless of when you tune in, we appreciate it. Dan Curry is with us. There's two sets of three initials by your name here, Dan. RLS and CFS. And then survey manager. What's RLS stand for?
Well, RLS is a registered land surveyor, and different surveyors use different acronyms. Some have used PLS, professional land surveyor, but that just indicates, I do have a license to practice in the state of Tennessee as a land surveyor. And then the second is a CFS, is a certified floodplain surveyor, which there's very many different aspects, as we know, with developing. There's floodplains. These creeks flood, and people like me kind of come in and kind of help you verify within a flood zone how high you need to build and what kind of parameters you have to meet to do those things.
Don't think we talked about this last time you were here, and I hadn't even thought about that. Obviously, I could see the need there. If you're in close to a floodplain, you want to make sure you're okay even for the 1,000-year, I guess, but especially 100-year.
Yes, we the most common item I do for flood work are what we call elevation certificates, and a lot of homeowners aren't as educated on flood insurance as they probably should be. These flood zones certain zones have established what we call a BFE, which is a base flood elevation. And a surveyor like me comes in and takes measurements on your house to determine how high or how low you are above this base flood elevation, which we then fill out a elevation certificate form, which there has been a new one in the last few weeks that has just now come out. We fill out that form, pass it off to an underwriter, and then based upon that relationship to the base flood, they derive a flood insurance policy.
You do a lot of that?
We do. It kind of it flows. Right now, I've probably got 4 or 5 that I'm working on, and sometimes it goes a few months and you don't get them. But that's probably the most common aspect of flood development. There's also other things, map revisions, other items that aren't. I have not personally done as much. Looking for the opportunity to. But yeah, the flood insurance is a big thing when people are purchasing homes. It's a very, very crucial and a big question you want to ask, because also even the bigger thing that people don't really realize is these base flood elevations change. If you build your house at a certain elevation now, in 5 to 10 years, that you might be at it or below it. And so, not to scare people, but there is risk when you buy property that's in a floodplain, and know what you're getting into.
Well, what are some of the reasons it would change in 5 or 10 years?
Well,
does density have something to do with that?
Well, we've got a lot of. We at one point in Wilson County had quite a few farms out here, and these farms didn't have roads and they didn't have houses on it, and now, with all this development that you see everywhere every day, we are creating more impervious surface, and that runoff has got to go somewhere. And so when we're creating more impervious surface, we are putting more water into these little creeks and tributaries that weren't meant to hold the water that they're currently holding. So that's why, as things get more developed and go on, your base flood elevation is going to continue to change, and by change, more often than not, it's going to go up.
Okay, if somebody even hearing us now is, well, I might ought to look into that, and they might want to talk to you. What's the best thing to do?
Probably a cell phone. I do have an email address, which I know you've got my card, and we can announce that at some point before we're done. But yeah, phone call, email. I try to take pride in answering the phone. I know a lot of times, you want somebody to come to your house, whether it be a plumber, a landscaper, whoever it may be. It can be a hard time sometimes just to get people on the phone.
Yeah.
And so, yes, a phone call or email, and I try to be as responsive as I can be.
Well, let's just do this right now, and we'll do it again before you leave this morning. Dan.curry@collierengineering.com.
Yes, sir.
Dan.curry, and that's CURRY. Dan.curry@collierengineering.com, and that cell phone is 931-510-2800. So you're available either way.
Yes.
What are you doing the most of? Or is there one thing that's right at the top of the list?
Not necessarily. I think since 2020, we have been doing a lot of initial work for pools. A lot of people building pools. I see that a lot. I guess I don't know if it's just from COVID or just people want pools and not have to go anywhere. But
you're talking about swimming pools.
Swimming pools, yeah. And a lot of people, again, you think, I'm just going to dig a hole and put a pool in my backyard. Well, you got to think about easements and various aspects, building setbacks, what you can and can't do over setbacks, and that varies from municipality to municipality. So, anybody out there that's looking to do a pool, fence line staking, we do those. Talk to your, especially with the pool side of things, talk to your HOA, talk to your local building and codes inspector to be sure that, you get together what you need, because sometimes, depending upon the circumstances of a lot, whether there's easements and setbacks, you may have to build a pool within an inch of a setback. And to do something like that, you got to hire somebody like me to do that work for you, to lay out that pool, to produce the drawings that you'll need to get your permits, things of that nature.
Well, if it's a homeowners association, they can have almost anything required,
that is right,
on who's in charge and how strict. They can be very, very strict.
Yes, I don't think we need to discuss how bad homeowners can or homeowners associations people can get in intense arguments there.
But it's somewhat of a different ball game with the city government or a county government, and then even then some are more strict than others, and I tend to think that the more urban an area is, probably the more restrictions, and the more rural one is, maybe the less restrictions.
I would say so. In general terms, yes, and it's all predicated on what are you doing, what are you building. You know, sometimes people don't even realize you can be in a rural area, and they may, with a slope of a property, 20-30% slope. A lot of times, people like me have to come and perform topographic surveys to design and place a pool, because you get into runoff issues with water. It goes back to that floodplain stuff and getting the water to the creek, and then you get engineers involved, and so and people quickly, if you've got hard circumstances to build your pool, you might end up having to spend some money that you might not realize, and then that all falls back to talk to your local building codes, figure out what's the circumstances of my lot, and they'll be able to help you to determine what you need to get a pool permit.
What's the future look like? Is there going to be, and I would think with all the building that's going on and all the growth that we have here in this area, we're going to need somebody doing surveying for as far out as we can look into the future.
I think so, and I think this is kind of a good opportunity for me to push to the younger generation of people, the kids that are in high school. They're looking for something to do for a profession. The average surveyor in his survey career is probably within 10 years of retirement. And in the last few years, I think we have gotten some good numbers of younger people coming in. But, if you're young and you were like me, you like being outside, you like history, you enjoy, putting things together and looking at maps, you might want to look into surveying. We as surveyors, I don't think do our profession justice in advertising what we do and why we do what we do. It's a great profession for a young person to get into.
Do you have a professional organization?
We do. It's the Tennessee Association of Professional Surveyors, TAPS, and we as the state of Tennessee, we get together every year in March, usually in Murfreesboro for a conference, and we get professional development hours there. But it's also just time to come together as surveyors and talk about situations and scenarios and things that we've had to deal with.
Well, here again, you went to college. In fact, you said you went to Tech and then to UT, I believe.
I did.
And what was your degree?
My degree at Tennessee Tech was in ag engineering, and then I went up to Knoxville and got a master's in biosystems engineering technology.
Okay, so you do have a master's,
which is very, yes, and you don't have to have that. You can, and my numbers may be a little bit off here, but it's like a 10, 12, 15 year that you can get grandfathered in and not have any education beyond high school to be a surveyor. Now it's going to take you more time. You got to get more real world experience, but there's also multiple pathways to get your survey license. But again, I think to any of the young people that are listening, if you like outside, look into surveying, because it's a rewarding profession.
There are certain professions that are just about going to be of necessity going to be around. And we're always going to need plumbers. We're always going to need people like that. We're always going to need surveyors, I think. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to think we won't.
There's not, and there's always, another, with kind of the way the profession's going, is using drones. A lot of people use what we call LiDAR, photogrammetry. These are processes to capture field data, and I think drones are kind of where GPSs were about 20 years ago, and that a lot more people, you can collect data faster, you can get more data, and some people are a little bit hesitant on it because it's just a new technology. But I think, if you want to, again, for a young person who might like to fly drones or take aerial photography and do things like that, then, there's a home for you with surveying.
Have you gotten into the drones yet?
I have a little bit. I've got a drone. I've got my drone license.
You have to have a license.
Well, so you don't have to have a license. If you are doing it for money, you are supposed to.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to. Obviously, you see a lot of young kids out flying around. If you're doing it recreationally, you don't. But
you're professional, and it is required, so you do.
We do. We work on, yes, as a doing it for work. I thought it would probably be the right thing to do to just go ahead and do that. So I do have
Has that changed things quite a bit?
I think so. We're working through those changes, and we're going through them right now. You know, people using them, you know, recognizing jobs where it would be a good job to use a drone on versus the conventional way, or a GPS, or using a total station with two guys. You know, it's all about the site conditions and which, you know, what's the right tool in the toolbox to use, a power drill versus a screwdriver.
Okay. We've got 1 minute to go here. Dan Curry has been my guest. He is a survey manager and is part of a Collier Engineering Company. But I want one more time, you might need his services. His cell phone number is 931-510-2800. 931-510-2800. And you can also get in touch with him at dan.curry@collierengineering.com. dan.curry@collierengineering.com. And Dan, we appreciate you being with us again. And surveying is something I know. I mean, even my questions here probably indicate how little I know about it. But I'm glad that there are people like you who have taken the ball and run with it and are there to help us, because it's an important part of our lives anymore.
It is, yes. And thank you for having me. And hopefully this will be not the last time.
All right. Okay. We'll try to keep it that way. That's it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow for the Tuesday edition. Until tomorrow, I wish you a magnificent day.